ads are distinctive, agile, and secure mobile services. Facebook is now joining other tech giants in the shift to user privacy. Apple led the way earlier this year, making privacy-focused announcements around their operating system. Google then followed suit by announcing that it will stop selling ads based on user-specific web browser data. TikTok recently announced a series of changes it says are designed to protect its teenage users' well-being. Until recently, there has been apparent indifference for data privacy at Facebook, which culminated in revelations that organizations harvested user data for targeted advertising, particularly political advertising, to apparent success. Facebook is not changing the narrative, working on secure, multi-party computation solution that helps advertisers understand how their campaigns are performing while adding extra layers of privacy to limit the information that can be learned by the advertiser or Facebook. Multi-party computation allows two or more organizations to work together while limiting the information that either party can learn. Facebook says that with this computation, both parties will be able to get insights about how an ad is performing without the need to entrust a single party with both datasets. This solution will be broadly available to advertisers starting next year.
And that has been tech news. I am so glad that the tech giants have finally realized that we need our privacy. I'm just hoping that the king, Amazon, will also join in line. With that, let me now take you to Tech of the Week, where we need you to sit back and get your hands off the wheel because you are about to get into a self-driving car mode. Here is Tech of the Week.
Tesla finally began shipping full self-driving beta version 9. As promised by Elon Musk, the software update began uploading after midnight on Friday 9th July, giving thousands of Tesla owners who have purchased the FSD option access to the feature, which enables drivers to use many of Autopilot's advanced driver assist features on local non-highway streets. The full self-driving beta has a different interface on the Tesla screen than the normal Autopilot. The normal Autopilot is more visual and polished than the full self-driving beta version, which looks a bit basic, probably a reminder that it's not a finished product yet. The self-driving version can see the stop sign from far away, then it lets you know that it's planning on stopping way ahead of time. This gives you more confidence because you know what's going on. The beta version requires you to hold the steering wheel from time to time so that it knows you're there, but it can still drive without you doing so. As it is now, you can't be driving while distracted because there's a camera close to the rearview mirror that can see what you're doing. Any distraction means they will kick you off from using this beta version. This version works better in suburbs with clearly marked roads, and with the new updates, it's going to keep on getting better. Tesla is actually closer than any other company to achieving the goal of bringing full self-driving cars on our roads. Here are some of the pros and cons of self-driving cars. One pro is that they generally reduce accidents and congestion. Most accidents on the road are due to some form of human error, whether it's distraction, impaired driving, or poor decision making. Self-driving cars have faster reaction times as well as the ability to communicate with other self-driving cars, which could help them reduce accidents and even reduce traffic jams. However, even with lower odds, accidents could still happen due to technology malfunctions or human driving other cars. Another pro is that self-driving cars have the potential to completely change our commute. Since there's no driving required, you could use this time to work on the go, incorporating your commute into your workday. But if that's not an option, or your commute is particularly long, you could use that time to watch TV shows, check social media, or even sleep. But as with any other emerging technologies, they are going to eliminate some jobs. It is predicted that millions of professional driving jobs will be wiped out, including both truck and taxi driving. It's also possible that related fields like car insurance and auto repair could be affected. Even though new jobs will emerge during this transition, it could prove to be a difficult time for many. A plus for these self-driving cars is that parking will be less of an inconvenience. Your car has the potential of dropping you off and then going to find a parking spot on its own, or maybe just circle the block while you run a quick errand. A downside is that they are pretty expensive. Hardware like camera and sensors and softwares required to process the incoming data could make things things fairly pricey. Prices may eventually come down, but they're still going to be expensive than traditional cars. The future is uncertain, but whether we like it or not, the rise of driverless cars is bound to transform transportation in one way or another.
I am fascinated by these self-driving cars, and it got me thinking about the near future when this car will be able to drop you off at work and then go work for you for 8 hours as an Uber self-driving car. How cool is that? This is as interesting as the future looks like from where I'm standing. I don't know about you, but now it is time for me to take you to the interview segment with Grace Githaiga together with the chairman of the Digital Lenders Association. Here it is.
Remember to follow us on all our social media handles, and that's at KBC TV Channel 1. That's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, in today's program, we'll be talking about digital lending. And what is this all about? Why has there been hula baloo about digital lending? And to help us understand the issues that have been, the current issues, we have Kevin Mutiso, and Kevin Mutiso is the chairman of the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya,
yes.
DLAC, correct?
Yes.
Okay, karibu sana to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Kevin. Now, I think the first thing, please define for us, what's this digital lending all about?
So digital lending is interesting in that we didn't really change the art of lending or the formula for lending. What we've done is we've made the processes that used to be manual now digital. And there are three main processes that we've made digital. So the first process was what we call Know Your Customer, where we have to do a confirmation of who you really are. So usually when you go to a bank, you get your ID, you take a photocopy, they do a confirmation. Now we do that on a digital process. Mm-hmm. The second thing is appraisal. Before you used to fill in a form and then we say, okay, Grace is eligible for 100,000. Now we do that all on digital, and then of course we disburse digitally. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to give loans that used to take 3 months, 2 weeks, we can do it in seconds now.
Now, why is digital lending so popular?
Because we solve a very key problem. The challenge we have in developing markets such as Kenya is you have a problem called access to finance. And so there's a thing called financial inclusion. So a lot of SMEs, informal sector entrepreneurs, even normal entrepreneurs usually try to get lending or capital for their businesses to expand, to grow, to pay for an emergency, but they usually can't get them from traditional places. And so the problem we came to solve was that problem. We provide working capital when you need it. And so the reason it's become so popular is because it was a problem that was faced by many, many Kenyans. Because even as you've called them ordinary Kenyans, we are all business people. Mm-hmm. No Kenyans, we're all entrepreneurial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of, you just pointed out that you do appraisal. And I know the traditional banks, when it comes to appraisal, there is the filling of the form, taking of pictures. Sometimes some banks even require that you give a reference that Kevin must refer me to a certain bank. Now, this one that you're giving in seconds, what sort of appraisal do you go through?
So, when we're doing appraisal of any financial product in lending, there are usually 3 parameters we follow. The first thing we try to make sure is that it's not a fraudulent transaction. The challenge we have in lending is the moment somebody thinks you have money, everyone wants to come there, including the bad people. So we always protect for fraud first. The second thing we do is we check for a thing called willingness to repay. So have you shown a proclivity? Have you shown that it's in your DNA, it's in your nature, that if you're given a loan, you will pay back? So we use the data we collect to calculate to see if you're willing to repay. And then the final thing, so there are 3, as I said earlier, is ability to repay. Do you have the cash flow? So you're saying you need 10,000. We've seen you're not a fraudulent person. We've seen you have it's natural for you to understand you have to pay the loan, but now can you afford the loan of 10,000 shillings? So then we do ability to repay, where we check your cash flow. to see if you can pay us back. So those are the three main ways we do it. So the difference between manual and digital is now we do that with digital platforms, and before it used to be done manually.
Okay, just listening to you, Kevin, it's quite interesting how then you check that ability to pay. There is the issue of data. Do you, for example, have access to my M-Pesa records, or how do you determine that I have ability to pay?
Each digital lending solution has a different source of their financial records, but before they get access to that source, you must give what we call express consent. Because in 2019, the Parliament passed a law named the Data Protection Act 2019, and in that law, it gave very clear guidelines on how we can ask the citizen for data, how we can use that data, how we can share that data with third parties, what happens if there's a data breach, what happens if we misuse your data, the fines, etc. So we do get access to your data, but you have to give us express consent.
Okay, so that's what you are calling debt shaming.
That's called debt shaming.
Okay, I have another question not tied exactly to that, but I have had instances of where I come to Oya, I go to Tala, I go to Zenka. I have loans across those platforms. I have even Fuliza. So how then do you determine that I want to pay? Because I might default on Fuliza, but then I come to Oya and borrow and you will give me money.
So that problem you've described is called over-indebtedness, right? And over-indebtedness is actually a bad problem for the business also, because it means that if I've given Grace 10,000 shillings and she can only afford to pay me 5, I'm going to lose money as a business person. So over-indebtedness, as you've described it, where you're going to one app and the other app to borrow, is actually a systemic issue. It isn't an issue of the business, it isn't an issue of the customer. It's an issue of the whole system. In our system, we have the Credit Reference Bureau. The way the Credit Reference Bureau works today is that we all share the credit information of our customers, both positive and negative. Now, we are digitally savvy, so the quality of our data is usually very good. Some of the other financial institutions have a bit of catching up to do. So the quality of data in this, the CRB sometimes is not the best. And then secondly, it's not on a real-time basis. So if I tell the CRB that Grace took 10,000 from Oye today, it won't be until 30 days later that your record is updated if you've paid. So then, there's that loophole there. But what is happening is that there's a solution coming into place, and we hope that in the next year that will be a thing of the past.
Take on Tech takes a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with this conversation on digital lending and what it's all about. We are speaking with Kevin Mutiso, who is the chairman of Digital Lenders Association. Please continue following us on our social media handles. That's at KBC TV Channel 1 on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram.
Kwani bado unanilaumu bado? Wewe ulikuwa atakaje nikupe hongera?
What? Yaani Kate wewe ndo sababu kwa nini bado iko asylum? Nilidhani watoto unawapenda kids.
Kwa ufupi tuseme wala tu wanatatiza wakiwa pale. Dingo.
Wapi?
Mwanangu Dingo.
Watoto wetu sio?
Umewasahau ama wajitia mnazo?
Hapana. Tunaenda wapi?
Supposed to be a surprise. Wewe jitayarishe tutoke.
I'm excited. Oh really? Why are you getting worked up? Mbona nikikuuliza kuhusu Kate wao badilika?
Maana sipendi kuuliza maswali about my clients. I don't like it.
Your tone, babe. Umekasirishwa na nini aso?
Dancer. Because that's in Dombolo. Yes. Your solo. Yeah. If you know Dombolo. Yes. I don't know if you used to love Lingala music.
I love Lingala.
Me, I'm a serious dancer. I was, and I'm still a serious dancer.
Yes.
Dekeido tera wina. Ayaye tera diamba Kisumo ber Kisumo. Tera diamba Kisumo. Boda swoya kondele. Hey, I'm Susan Wio.
We're back on Take on Tech, where we are speaking with Kevin Mutiso, who is the chairman of the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya, DLAC. Now, Kevin, very interesting speaking with you. Let us assume we have a young innovator who has come up with an app and they also want to do digital lending. What is the process of joining or starting that?
Okay, so I see two questions there. So to join DLAC is very simple. You go to our website, dlak.co.ke, and you register, and then somebody from our team will reach out and then walk you through our process. Our process is very straightforward. We would like to understand your product. We would like you to read our code of conduct, and then you sign that you will abide by that code of conduct. You then get interviewed by what they call the membership committee. The membership committee will then appraise you. You know, there's certain parameters, and then after that the names are forwarded to the board, and then at the board they are approved or disapproved depending on the results. There's a point you've made there where you said a young innovator. Financial technology and financial services is a very complex game. And actually, the average age of a fintech owner is 46 years old. So I would be very wary if a young innovator was trying to jump into one of the hardest games without any experience. So I'd advise them to first work at a bank, work at a microfinance, understand lending a little bit before they jump into this deep end.
You know why I'm smiling, Kevin, because I know you are not 48 yet.
I'm one of the younger ones.
Okay. Yeah. So you would advise that they first try and work in a bank?
I'd advise that they try something around. I'm not saying that
financial
they should.
Services.
Yes, I'd advise that before they jump into lending, try something that will teach them about lending. Because you know, if you lose money in lending, you lose all the money, and so you won't get an investor again.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because lending, you're lending people money. So do not assume it will come back just because it's gone out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I come back to the question of DLAC. I know DLAC has its membership. So can you please tell us, how do you deal with those who are engaged in predatory practices, like we spoke when we started this interview section?
So that's interesting. So fortunately, all the members of the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya have to sign a code of conduct that is very clear on how it should deal with certain aspects of the business. One of the big ones is how it communicates to its customers. The price has to be very transparent. The terms and conditions need to be very simple. We call simple language, not legalese, legal language. We also talk about debt collection practices, how you're supposed to do that. And so once you join DLAC, it's expected that you should follow that procedure. In terms of the predatory lenders, they have not been accepted into the Digital Lenders Association of Kenya. And in fact, that is why we were formed, so that we could separate ourselves from those of us who are actually doing it as a business into the long term, and those who are now trying to build these predatory types of businesses. So we separated ourselves, and we actually called them the rogue actors.
Okay, now recently the central bank has released the amendment bill of 2020, and so I know you have read the 160-page document. So I will tell you, like Kenyans, you read for us.
Yes.
Can you please give us what are some of the highlights, especially for wananchi? What do wananchi need to know, or should I put it, what are some of the proposals for digital lenders in that bill?
Well, what I can say is that the MPs listened to the wananchi and listened to the customer. Customer protection was front and center of the recommendations that in that 160-page document. They spoke about data privacy and empowered the CBK, the Communications Authority of Kenya, and the Office of the Data Commissioner to work together to clamp down on anyone who breaches the Data Protection Act and this new CBK amendment bill. So what I can say is debt shaming is it's already over, but it shall soon be over forever. I think that's a big thing. The second big thing is marketing guidelines. In the recommendations, consumer protection guidelines, they have empowered the CBK to come up with different consumer protection guidelines that shall inform on how we do debt collection, that shall inform on how we do marketing, what language we use, the way we put our pricing, the way we're going to do the legal language. So that should also help the Mwananchi considerably. The other side, by the way, is that because the law also speaks to the businesses and it solves some of the challenges the businesses were having. So how that will help the Mwananchi is expect better products. Expect products for very niche demographics. As I told you, I'm working on a product specifically for Boda Boda, right? There'll be others working specifically for Mama Mboga and other very niche demographics. Why? Because now we will have predictability. With this new law, we can plan. Before we couldn't plan, so it was very difficult to plan financing, plan the product, plan rollout. Now we know what we are meant to do. The CBK has been given timelines. And I think that will really benefit the Mwananchi greatly.
So thank you so much, Kevin, for that. I am sure somebody has benefited somewhere.
I hope so.
Very good information, and we wish you the best in the regulation aspect, and that you will come to a point where you and Mwananchi will agree as you lend them and as we borrow.
And as they pay back.
Okay, very important, yes. As they pay back.
Yes.
So thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the interview section of Take on Tech. My name is Grace Gidaiga, and we were with Kevin Mutiso. Goodbye.
It is now time for the Innovators Club, and today we feature a unique type of mask that ensures your comfortability and keeps up with your fashion sense. Here it goes.
Breeze. Get your hands on the most intelligent anti-pollution mask, a device that is an absolute must-have during the COVID-19 pandemic. Breeze is the best access to daily fresh air. When breath meets breeze. The mask allows you to breathe comfortably. You will not feel oppressed while wearing it. It doesn't create moisture while exhaling, unlike most others out there, ensuring your optimal comfort. It has a unique design that allows your face to be visible too. In 2016, according to estimates, 92% of the world population lives in places plagued with air pollution. Air pollution has even resulted in around 6 million premature deaths, both indoors and outdoors. Even though the need for wearing a mask has increased exponentially in recent months, it's challenging to find both protection and comfort in one place. Breeze changes the game because you can wear this mask anytime and anywhere.
Definitely think I should get one of these masks. What do you think? Well, now it is time for me to take you to the segment where we ask you the question, did you know? brings us to the end of today's show, but you know the drill, the conversation never stops. Today's conversation has been, how has borrowing from the digital platform affected your financial status? Talk to us. The hashtag is TakeOnTech. Find us across all social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also get me at Stephanie_Ayeta on Instagram and Stephanie Ayeta across all other social media platforms. Let's meet next week. Until then, keep it tech. Adios.
Kiufupi watisha.
Wajua nini Maria? Yaani nataka mnipendeze. Wasemaje?
Ama kola sonaja mnamji wenu Kupe mama gano. Namshangaa. Kambe vile alijui ati.
Hapa kaliki mheshimiwa, huyu amehatarisha maisha yangu kwa hatarini.
Vipi? Utosha vipi sasa?
Huyu alikuja na shida yake. Yaani kwani bado mnanilaumu bado? Wewe ulikuwa atakaje nikupe hongera?
What? Yaani Kate wewe ndo sababu kwa nini Badi iko asylum? Nilidhani watoto unawapenda Kate.
Kwa ufupi tuseme wala tu wana mtoto wake wa pale.
Dingo.
Wapi?
Mwanangu Dingo.
Watoto wetu sio?
Umewasahau ama wajitia mnazo?
Hapana. Tunaenda wapi?
Supposed to be a surprise. Wewe jitayarishe tutoke.
I'm excited. Oh really? Why are you getting worked up? Mbona nikikuuliza kuhusu Kate wabadilika?
Maana sipendi kuuliza maswali about my clients. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Your tone, babe. Umekasirishwa na nini aso?
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Daddy!
Max
Daddy!
is in. Why is Max in prison?
Oh, it can't be. Oh, Dad, you have to breathe. Hang on. Someone help, please. I need your help.
Send me the registration, together with all the requirements. I'm interested for my son Lucio to stay in your institution right away.